Hello students, welcome to the next session of company law. In this session we are going to talk about the provisions relating to the debenture, the borrowed capital. So far student, in some last few sessions we have discussed about the share capital, the types of the share capitals, then the provisions relating to the share certificate, how the transfer and the transmission of the shares can happen. Then we discuss about the reduction of the share capital, also the provisions relating to the alteration of the share capital. So we have completed the topic of the share capital from chapter number 4 of the Companies Act 2013. Now we are going to move on to the borrowed capital, and a very important borrowed capital in the form of in the company form of business is debentures. So debentures. So we are going to talk about this very important topic, debentures, where debentures are defined. The definition of the debenture is given under section 230. To subsection 30. Definition is given under section 2 subsection 30 of the Companies Act, which states that debenture includes debenture stock, bonds, or any other instrument of a company evidencing a debt. So it may include debenture stock, bonds, or any other type of instrument of a company evidencing a debt, whether constituting a charge, on assets of the company or not. So it is very evident from this particular definition that the debentures may cover secured or unsecured debentures. So it talks about debenture stock, bonds, or any other instrument of a company which will evidence a debt. Okay, so it is related to a loan, a kind of borrowed capital, you can say, to the company. So whether it may constitute a charge on the assets of the company or not, one has to understand what is meant by charge. The layman understanding of the charge is a kind of security given for securing some loan or debentures by way of mortgage on the assets of the company. It may include mortgage as well. So the charge definition is also defined under Companies Act 2 subsection 16 of the Act, which says that charge means an interest or lien created on the property or assets of the company or any of its undertaking or both as securities, and it includes charge as well. That is going to be a different topic. When the charge will come, we will discuss in detail. So debentures. So let's now focus on the debentures. So debenture may include debenture stock, bonds, or any other instrument of a company which will evidence a debt. So students, try to understand the debenture is a debt capital, which is very different from the share capital. So one needs to understand the difference between debentures and the shares. Then we can very well understand about the debentures in detail. So before we'll proceed further with the rules of debentures, let's go through the difference between the share capital versus debentures. Now first let's try to understand the various provisions of the difference between debenture and shares. So let me just put debentures and shares. So the first point we can say that, okay, debenture constitute a loan. Debentures constitute a loan. Whereas what about the shares? Shares are part of the capital of a company, so which is very different from the loan because it is treated as a capital of the company. So what can be the second point of difference? When we say that, okay, debenture is a loan, so the persons who are the debenture holders will be called as creditors of the company. So debenture holders are treated as creditors of the company. So what about the shareholders? Shareholders are basically treated as the owners or of the company or members of the company. Shareholders are treated as members, owners of the company. Okay, so this is the major point of difference between debentures and the shareholders. So one needs to very well understand who is the debenture, what is the role of the debenture, and what is the role of the shareholder in the company. The third point of difference can be why one can invest in the into the company in the form of debentures, because he is entitled for a certain amount of interest on the capital he has contributed in the form of debenture. So debenture holders gets fixed interest which carries a priority, I would say a priority over dividend. Okay, as we have studied that the shareholders, they are entitled for the dividend, whereas debenture holders are entitled for the interest. Shareholder gets dividend with a varying rate. Okay, so with varying rate, with different rates, it depends upon the profitability of the company. Okay, the shareholder may or may not get the dividend in case of equity shareholder. In case of preference shareholder, we have seen it may be fixed rate of dividend or the fixed percentage of the dividend. Debentures and shares. So we have completed 3 point of differences. The fourth point of difference is debentures generally have a charge on the assets of a company. What about here? Shares do not carry any such charge. Okay, so on the shares, any the kind of the charge is not created on the shares, whereas in the debentures the charge can be created. That we have already studied when we have studied about the definition in detail. Whether voting rights are given to the debenture holders. Debenture holders do not have any voting rights. Okay, so debenture holders, they do not get any kind of voting rights, but we have seen that equity shareholder can vote on all matters affecting the company. So we can say that an equity shareholder can vote on all matters affecting the company. Okay, so he can vote on all matters affecting the company. Interest on debentures is payable even if there are no profits. Interest on the debentures is payable even if there are no profits. Dividend can be paid to shareholders only out of profits of the company and not otherwise. Okay, so the dividend can be paid only, okay, out of profits of the company and not otherwise. So here we have completed the 6 points of differences. Dividend can only be paid out of profits, not otherwise, because it's a part of the profit which can be shared with the shareholders. So we started with this particular definition. Please make a note of this. Then we started with the difference between the debentures and the shares. So first point is it constitutes a loan. It's a part of capital. Constitutes a loan. It's a part of capital. Debentures are treated as creditors. They are members or owners of the company. Then debenture holder gets fixed interest, gets dividend but varying rate. Okay, so and it is paid, the fixed interest is always paid on priority, so over the dividend. Debentures generally have a charge, do not carry any such charge. Do not carry any such charge. Whether they have voting rights? No, they do not have any kind of voting rights, but they can vote on all matters affecting the company. It's payable, okay, even if there are no profits. Paid to the shareholders only out of the profits. Okay, so these are the major points of differences between debentures and shares. Now we are going to proceed with the topic of debentures and the provisions given under section 71 relating to the debentures. So before that we need to understand the types of debentures. Let's first try to understand types of debentures. So it can be divided into three major classification. Okay, on the basis of security, on the basis of security, then on the basis of convertibility, and third on the basis of redeemability. Okay, so there can be further two types. So when we say secured and second is unsecured, secured and unsecured, there can be convertible, non-convertible, convertible, and there can be non-convertible. There can be two different types like redeemable. Let me put redeemable and again non-redeemable. Okay, so let's try to understand one by one. Okay, so on the basis of the security, when we say secured and unsecured, so when it is secured with some security and debentures are issued, okay, then it is secured debentures. When debentures are directly issued without any kind of security, then those debentures are unsecured debentures. Which one will be more risky? Of course, unsecured debentures will be more risky because there won't be any kind of backed security, okay, while issuing the debentures. Convertible, non-convertible. So there can be one option given to the debenture holders after redemption. They may convert, in case of convertible debentures, into the shares. So in case of the convertible debentures, after the redemption, at the time of redemption, the option can be given to the shareholders to convert their debentures in option can be given to the debenture holders to convert their debentures into the shares of the company. In case of non-convertible, those cannot be converted into the shares of the company. Then when we say redeemable and non-redeemable, similar way as we have studied under the preference shares, the non-redeemable preference shares cannot be issued. The similar way, non-redeemable debentures cannot be issued as per Companies Act 2013. So only redeemable debentures can be issued, okay, as per Companies Act 2013, which should be redeemed on a periodic basis. Okay, the similar provisions are there. So it's very easy to understand the types of various debentures: secured, unsecured, convertible, non-convertible, redeemable. Non-redeemable you can just write down, but now it is no more into existence. Now let's try to understand the section number, section number 17, the provisions relating to issuance of debentures. Provisions to issue debentures. So provisions are given under section 71 of the Companies Act 2013, which says that it provides the manner in which a company may issue debentures. Okay, so there are certain provisions with the help of pointers we will try to understand. So company may issue a debentures with an option to convert such debenture into shares. So few provisions I can just note it down over here. A company may issue debentures with an option to convert into shares. Issue of debentures shall be approved by I'll first write it down all the pointers. company should create debenture redemption reserve account show prospectus make an offer $500 for subscription for subscription without appointment of debenture trustee. Company should pay and redeem debentures in accordance with the terms and conditions of issue. Okay, so these are some of the important provisions a company has to keep in mind before and after issuance of the debentures. So company may issue debentures with an option to convert such debentures into the shares. So this we have already completed. The convertibility is always possible with the convertible debentures. So with an option to convert debentures into shares, company can always do it. Issue of debentures should be approved by the special resolution. So for that matter, company has to pass the special resolution, okay, before approving the issue of debentures. So very important, company should not issue any debentures, okay, with the voting rights. So that is the reason no company shall issue any debentures carrying any voting rights. No company. Company should create debenture redemption reserve account. So this is the account which a company has to create for the redemption purpose. Okay, and in this particular account, out of the profits available of the company available for the payment of dividend and the amount credited of such account, okay, shall not be utilized by the company except for the redemption of the debentures. So this account has to be created by the company for the redemption purpose only. No company should issue prospectus or make an offer to the public exceeding 500 for subscription without appointment of debenture trustee. So debenture trustee is an important person who should be appointed when a company is intending to issue the debentures to more than 500 people. Okay, so in that case debenture trustee has to be appointed. There are some liabilities of the debenture trustees. We will talk about that little later. So without appointing him, company should not issue debentures to more than 500 subscribers. A company should pay and redeem debenture in accordance. Company should pay and redeem debentures in accordance with the terms and conditions of the issue. And if a company is not doing so, then in that case there will be penalty which can be levied on the company. We will talk about that as well. So first let's try to understand the role of the debenture trustee. The role of the debenture trustees, or you can say the liabilities of the debenture trustees. Liabilities of debenture trustees. A debenture trustee should take steps to protect interest of debenture holders. So he should be in a position to redress their grievances where debenture trustee fails to show the degree of care and due diligence degree of care and due diligence he may be removed. Or else we can say that it will be treated as breach of trust, because based on the if debenture trustee comes to the conclusion, or you can say debenture trustee can file petition. A debenture trustee can file a petition before the tribunal. Before the tribunal. Okay, so these are some of the roles of the debenture trustees, which debenture trustee has to comply with. So debenture trustee is appointed basically to safeguard the interest of the debenture holders, that they should get the proper the interest rate as per the terms of the trust deed from time to time. So debenture trustee should always take the steps to protect the interest of the debenture holders. That is the first and the foremost, okay, the liability of the debenture trustee. So to protect interest of the debenture holders. So if he fails to show the degree of care, if he fails to show the degree of care or due diligence, then it will be treated as breach of trust. And with that, okay, there can be some other provisions like debenture holders may remove him, they may place the some other debenture trustee for that matter. A debenture trustee can file a petition, so he has wide powers also. Okay, so if in case where the at any time, okay, the debenture trustee comes to the conclusion that the assets of the company are insufficient or are likely to become insufficient to discharge the principal amount as and when it becomes due, the debenture trustee may file a petition before the tribunal. So tribunal here means the NCLT, that is National Company Law Tribunal. So after hearing, what tribunal can do? After hearing the debenture trustee, okay, so he is going to be a kind of representative, okay, on behalf of the debenture holders. He can go and apply to the he can go and file the petition on behalf of the debenture holders. Then after hearing that particular matter, the company and any other person interested by order impose such restriction on incurring any further liabilities on the company. So as the tribunal may consider fit. So all these rights or liabilities, you can say, are put on the debenture trustee when he is taking the role or coming in the shoes of the debenture trustee. So he will have to ensure that the interests of the debenture holders should be protected properly. Okay, so now we will try to understand the penalties part. So on failure, if suppose is relating to this point only, if company fails, where a company fails to redeem the debentures on the date of their maturity, debenture holder may proceed further, and after hearing the parties concerned, okay, because the tribunal may call the company as well, tribunal may direct by order the company to redeem the debentures forthwith on payment of principals and the interest due thereon. So along with the principal, whatever interest amount is coming, okay, that has to be paid, okay, in case of the as per the order, pursuant to the order of the tribunal. What if the default will happen to the order? Okay, so let's try to understand that penalty part. I would say penalty. If any default is made in complying with the order of tribunal, then what will happen? Every officer of the company who is in default shall be punishable with the imprisonment of 3 years, maybe up to 3 years. So in that case you can say that every officer of the company who is in default shall be punishable. So that can be two types of punishment. Imprisonment up to 3 years, or you can say fine, imprisonment and a fine rupees 2 lakh or rupees 5 lakh. 2 lakh, it should be 2 5 lakh, or one more we can say. So this can be or both. Okay, so he can be either penalized, okay, he can be imprisoned for a term of up to 2 years, which may extend to 3 years, or with fine of rupees 2 lakhs to minimum 2 lakhs to 5 lakhs, or with both, so this can be the penalty. So one has to be very careful. The contract between the debenture holders and the company, that is a debenture trust deed, that will be considered as a contract where the specific performance is also possible, which says that a company with a company to take up and pay any debentures may be enforced by a decree of specific performance. So one can go in the court and ask for the specific performance. So central government has prescribed some rules for the issuance of debentures under the company share capital and debenture rules 2014, where the rules regarding creation of the debenture redemption reserve account and everything is given. So the company has to make the deposit in the scheduled bank as per the provisions. So all these are important provisions relating to the debentures one should know. So you may just make a note of all these provisions. So still here we have done. So we started with the types of debentures. Make a note of all these points. On the basis of security, convertibility and redeemability. Secured, unsecured, convertible, non-convertible, redeemable, non-redeemable. Then provisions to issue debentures we have started under section 71. Okay, so basically there is a procedure laid down, like company will have to convene the board meeting, then board meeting will recommend to the shareholders, the resolution should be passed, Then company may come up with the offer letter or the prospectus for that matter, and then the proceedings will go on. So company will have that option to issue debentures with convertibility. It should be done by special resolution. It should be approved by the special resolution. One has to keep in mind, okay, company cannot issue debentures with voting rights. And debenture redemption reserve account is very important. When a company is going to issue debentures to more than 500, then this debenture trustee is very important. Debenture trustee. Company should pay and redeem debentures only in accordance and conditions of the issue. Then liabilities we have seen of the debenture trustee. You should always take, so it is the first and foremost liability of the debenture trustee to protect the interest of debenture holders. If he fails to show the degree of care or the due diligence for that matter, then it will be treated as breach of trust. You can file a petition before the tribunal. We have seen when the interest is not safeguarded, if he is of the opinion that the funds are insufficient or is likely to be insufficient to redeem the debentures or pay the principal along with the interest, then he can, on behalf of the debenture holders, approach the tribunal. So he is authorized to do that as per the act only. Then we have seen the penalty part. So if any default is made in complying with the order of tribunal, then what will be the penalty? Every officer of the company who is in default can be penalized for the same, with imprisonment or with fine or with both, up to 3 years to 2. So the officers of the company who are involved in this issue of debentures, or those who are supposed to comply with the provisions of the debentures from time to time, they should be very careful in discharging their duties. Otherwise, there can be imprisonment or penalties. So students, we have completed the topic of debenture, and with this particular topic of debenture, today we have completed the chapter number 4 of the Companies Act 2013. So today we started with definition, then we move on to understand debentures versus shares, then types of debentures, provisions relating to the debentures, and the liabilities, which is nothing but a part of the provisions of debentures. So many questions we have studied today. I hope you have understood all these provisions very well. Do watch this video. We will come up with a new topic in the next lecture, and we will proceed further with the next chapters of the Companies Act 2013. Till then, goodbye. Please do watch this video, prepare yourself, read the notes. Thank you so much for watching this video. Bye bye.